Hi everybody, welcome to Studio Bar's virtual studio. I'm going to take you through a set of mobility exercises for the lower back and for the hips. This is really great for those runners of you out there, and also for people who do a lot of strength work. Sometimes we can get quite tight and quite locked up around the hip area. So there's some stretches in here and some mobilising exercises. So all you need is a mat and a little bit of space. We're going to come down onto our bottoms, equal pressure through the sit bones, placing the soles of the feet down on the ground. Roll the shoulders down and back and rest the hands to the side. We're going to try and keep a long spine here as we drop the knees from side to side, beginning with just a gentle windshield wipe of the knees. So dropping that inner knee down towards the ground. We're not forcing any movement. We're just trying to mobilise into that leg as it drops down. So keep that lift from the crown of the head. Let's finish with 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. I'm going to sit with my right foot in front now. So my right foot is roughly parallel to the front of my right shin is parallel to the front of my mat. We're going to take a side bend over to our right side. So placing the weight on the right arm, sweep the top arm up and over, and then rise to the top. So we're making some space down through the side of the body, really thinking about this deep lumbar area here. So taking a nice stretch into a tiny little muscle called our QL that sits between our lumbar spine and our pelvis and can get really tight when we do lots of running, cycling, various sports. So reaching that top arm over. Let's take 1 more. And we're going to come back into midline. We're going to bring our hands to heart center, roll the shoulders down and back. We're going to lift our left knee and then we're going to lower. So we're just going to open through that left hip and lower. Squeeze the palms of the hands in together into the center so we're nice and active through the upper back as we lift that top knee, and we just lift to a height that feels good. We're all working with our own joint range of motion, so we're just pushing to the end of our range. Let's go for 2 more. We're going to be floating this left leg off now and drawing the left leg around in front of us. So see if you can hover it round, tap it maybe to the front of the knee, and then send it back round. So trying to stay as centered as you can, and then send it back round. If you've got more flexible hips, you might be able to send that leg even further around. If you've got tighter hips, that leg might come only just in front of the other foot. So work with your own range. Let's go for 2 more. This time we're going to stay in that little twisted position and see if you can bring that foot now to the outside of that right knee. Keep the sit bones connected down onto the ground. Let's draw that left knee in towards our right shoulder and think about length from the crown of the head. Squeeze it in. Inhale to release. Exhale, squeeze in, lengthen from the crown of the head. Push that left sit bone down to the ground. And release. Let's go for 2 more. Exhale, squeeze that left knee in and release. Last one. And take a release. We're going to take all of that over to the other side. So sitting with your left shin parallel roughly to the top of your mat. We're going to start with our side bend. So left hand comes down, sweeping the top right arm up and over and rising back to the center. So making some space now through that right side of the lower back and up into the torso here. But we're really thinking about creating a little bit of space between our right lower ribs and our right hip bones here, especially into our little QL muscle. Last 2 and final 1. Rising back into the center, let's bring the hands to heart center and we're going to lift our right knee and then lower. So trying to think about staying centered through the body, squeeze the shoulder blades down and in, lift and lengthen up and out from the crown of the head as we just open. So nice active stretches here, working within your own range of motion. Last 3, 2, get ready to lift that right leg up and bring it round in front. Last 1. Let's bring that right leg up, tap it round in front of your left knee and send it back round again. Bring it round. So just thinking about that mobility into our right hip joint and place it down. Try and stay as centered as you can. There will definitely be some side to side movement of the torso here, unless you've got super open hips. Let's go for 3 more. On the third, we're going to leave that right foot in front of our left knee. 2, and final 1. Let's see if we can walk that foot to the outside of the left leg. Use the left arm to hug into the right leg. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, draw that right leg in towards the left shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, press that right leg in towards the centre. Keeping the spine nice and long still. Inhale to release. Exhale, squeeze it in. 1 more. And then unravelling the legs. We're going to come into a gate position. So onto your right knee, extending the left leg out to the side. We're going to rest down onto our hands. I'm going to turn side on so you've got a better view of what's happening with my hips. We're going to inhale to bring the weight over the hands. Exhale to bring our bottom back to our right heel. Inhale to lift. Exhale, send the bottom backwards. As you send the bottom backwards, see if you can walk that left leg out a little bit further so we get a lovely stretch into that left adductor. Inhale to rise. Exhale to stay down. Let's go for 1 more. This time staying in this position with the weight on the right heel. Let's see if we can dial the foot upwards. So we're rotating externally into that left hip and then dial it back down. Dial up and down. 2 more. Dial it up, toes to ceiling and down. And final 1. Holding for a few moments. Let's take that straight over to the other side. So coming into our gate, resting on our left knee, extending the right leg out to the side. Weight is onto the palms of the hands. Inhale forwards. Exhale, send the weight backwards. So feeling that stretch all the way down the inside of the hip into our adductor muscles. Inhale to rise. Exhale, sink back. So runners tend to be quite tight through those adductors. Let's go for 2 more. Inhale to rise. Exhale to sink down. On the next one, we're going to stay with our bottom back to our left heel. Remember to walk that foot out at any point should you need to. And we're going to dial the right toes up and down. Up and down. Let's go for 3 more. Turning, rotating into external rotation through that right hip, but with control. Last one. And then drawing that leg into the centre. We're going to come down onto our backs now. Let's draw both knees in towards our chest. Taking the hands on top of the knees, we're going to start to draw circles through the hips, just loosening things off, just stimulating the production of our joint lubricating fluid. And let's switch the direction. Rotating back the opposite way. And then coming to midline, let's place our left foot down on the ground. We're going to place the right foot just above our left knee. Let's press that right leg to an open position. If this feels like a good stretch, then hold it here. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, we're going to hook our hands behind our left leg. Lie the head back down and draw everything into the centre of the body. You can press your right knee outwards using your left upper arm or elbow. Take a little rock around if that feels good, or you can just hold steady. Let's start to straighten our left leg up towards the ceiling. Draw those toes down to the ground. Hug everything a little bit closer, just adding a little stretch to the back of that left leg into the hamstring. Bend into that left leg. Let's switch sides. So placing your right foot down, left knee bends, placing the left foot just above right knee. Press that knee out to the side. Try not to allow the pelvis to move here. Everything is really firmly imprinted down onto the mat. If this feels like enough for your hip, hold here. Otherwise, let's thread our hands behind our right leg. And then we're going to draw the knee in towards the chest. Again, you can use your left upper arm or elbow to push that left knee, rotating outwards. Let's start to extend our right leg up towards the ceiling, draw the toes downwards, feeling a stretch into the back of the hamstring. If you've got more flexible hamstrings, then you can take the hands a little bit further down the calf. And let's release. We're going to take both legs up to the sky. We're going to cross our right foot over our left, Bend the legs in, take hold of the outside of both feet. Imagine you're tying yourself into a little knot here. So as we flex through the hips, we're also externally rotated. So really squeeze them in towards the chest, feeling that stretch into the outside of both hips. Hold steady, take a little rock around, squeeze them in a little bit tighter. And we're going to release in just a moment and switch the cross of the legs. So let's release, send the toes upwards, bend into the knees, a left foot over right, and let's take hold of the outside of our feet, draw the knees into the chest, and then add that little rotation. So tying yourself back up into that little knot. Hold steady, have a wiggle. And then let's release. We're going to come over into a child's pose, taking the hands directly underneath the shoulders, connect the toes together, send the bottom backwards, walk the fingertips forwards, working into some lumbar flexion here. So allow everything to sink down nice and heavily into the mat. Take a deep breath in this position. With every exhalation, think about sinking down a little deeper into the mat, feeling that stretch a little bit higher up into the spine, making sure we've got plenty of range all the way through the spinal column. Let's walk our hands all the way over to the left side of the mat, placing the right hand on top of the left, stretching a little deeper into that right side of the body. Send the breath down into that right side of the torso, and with every exhale, lengthen a little further. Let's walk the hands over to the top right corner, extending over to the right side this time, placing the left hand on top of the right, feeling that extra stretch down through that left side of the body. Sink down with every exhalation. And then walking the hands back into the centre, rising into an all-fours position. Think about the spine being nicely aligned here. So take the gaze down between your hands. We're going to draw big circles with the hips. So start to scoop the hips round, and we're going to send our bottom all the way back towards our heels. And let's get ready to change the direction. So scooping back all the way round. Just making sure that these movements feel good on the body. Let's go for one more. Coming back so that our weight is directly over the shoulders. We're going to take circles once again, but this time we're isolating those circles to the lower back and pelvis. So really scoop round, gaze is down. Think about really rounding through the lower back, drawing hip bones up towards ribs. And let's reverse those scoops. Keep breathing. And then finishing off in midline. Tuck the toes under. We're going to come up onto our feet. We're going to take a final stretch, and we're going to be stretching down the outside of the leg through the IT band. So taking the weight on the right leg, you can hold on to something if that feels good, placing the left leg behind. We're going to take a bend down into the knees, taking a deep side bend, and we're going to straighten through the legs, elongating through that top arm, and then take a bend. Elongate, straighten, keep that side bend, and bend down. Straighten, reach overhead, holding this one for a little bit longer. And let's switch the legs, stepping right foot behind left. Left hand can come onto the head, onto the hips. Take a bend through the knees, sweep that top arm up and over. Really feeling that stretch all the way down the right side of the body. So where the IT band crosses the outer hip, and then rise. Extend through the side body, bend into those knees, and rise. Let's go for one more. Holding this last one a little bit longer. Elongate, right fingertips all the way up over the head. And then rise to the top. Hopefully that's left you feeling a little bit more open through the lower back and through into the hips. It's a great way to loosen things off in that area after you've done a workout, or maybe after a run or a cycle. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again very soon in the virtual studio.